What's good, Limit Break TCG? This is Corey coming with a deck profile. It's been a while. I apologize for that. We've been moving. We moved to a new house, um, and we've been dealing with that the last 2 or 3 months. Is getting stuff ready for that. But we're in the new house now, and we're back into Digimon. Pretty much full time. Doing tournaments a lot lately, now that I'm living closer to my locals, because before I was living about an hour away from my locals. Now I'm only 20 minutes from my local stores, so I've been competing a lot more lately, especially in EX4 BT12. EX4 BT12/13 format, coming up BT13. But so I wanted to give y'all guys a deck profile for Shine Gray, that I actually won with this past Saturday at my locals. I went undefeated. A lot of good matchups, a lot of head-to-head. Round one, I faced my fiance, and she was playing Bagger Army, which, by the way, don't sleep on that deck, y'all. Bagger Army, it may not be meta, but that deck can pop off if you don't know what the cards do. Because that was a fight. Me and her was a fight. And then round two was a Shine Mirror match. The other Shine player was a really good Shine player. I think we went to three games, and all 3 games were pretty close. And then the final round I played against Royal Knight. Not Royal Knights. It was just Alpha, actually. Now that I think about it. Which Alpha is a Royal Knight, but it wasn't the Royal Knight deck with King Drazel and Omnimon and all those. It was just Alphamon, and that was very back and forth as well. But we were able to make a win with that. And so let's stop talking and give y'all the guys the deck profile. So it's been a while since I did one of these, so just bear with me. I'm also getting a new tripod. To kind of give us better angles, better clarity, and stuff like that. So we run 4 of the BT5 Koromon. We play the red babies mainly just for consistency. Because whenever you swing with an Omni or a Gray, if it has Omni or Gray in its name, you draw a card when you swing. So that's draw powers. It's consistency. And then lastly, our 5th egg, because sometimes we do go 5. We do use 5 of our eggs. I've thought about changing this, but the issue is there's not many good Koromons, and our Agumons need Koromons to evolve onto, or else we'll have to pay, which we don't want to. We don't typically want to pay for the evolution, especially if we're going to a level 2 to a level 3. So I just decided this Koromon was fine. They do have the other one where if you have 4 sources, it's like plus, I don't know, 2k or 1k, the one in the starter deck, and then this Koromon, and then this Koromon. So like there's only so many Koromons that you could use. So I decided to go with 4 of the draw one, and then 1 of, if it has Augu or Greymon, it gets a 1000. Moving on to the rookies, we play 4 of the BT12 Agumon, and he's really good in the sense that he helps us on play. Now you evolve for a 1 if it's not on a Koromon, but it's free if it's on a Koromon. That's why the Koromon babies are so important. But on play, reveal top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon and 1 Marcus among them to your hand, and place the rest at the bottom. So this helps us grab our later Shine pieces, our later Greymon, Geo Grays, stuff like that, Rise Grays. It helps us get any of our Grays, and then a Marcus as well. So it's kind of our searcher. But it does have a nifty little secondary effect in the inheritable. When one of your yellow or red Tamers becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 2k DP. Now, I missed this not timing. I missed this effect a lot this past weekend. And it could have made my games a little easier if I was, paying attention. But it was a new deck. We're still all learning our BT13 decks and stuff like that, and BT12 and archetypes and stuff. So I missed this effect a lot, and if I would have paid more attention to this effect, I probably could have got rid of a little bit more things, and it wouldn't have been as close of a game against my opponents, I guess you could say. I don't want to sound cocky, but I mean, I just feel like that's that's the truth. It's a truthful statement, because I was missing this. I was missing this effect a lot. So I would bring out my Marcuses. I would swing, and I'd totally forget about this effect, and I'd be focused on the Marcus, stuff like that. But keep in mind that inheritable effect. It's a really good effect, really important effect. It can come up, in situations and help your game a little bit better. Secondly, we play more Agumons. We play the EX4 Agumon that says, start of main phase, if you have a Tamer, a yellow Tamer or a red Tamer in play, gain 1 memory. So this is so start of turn. So even if he's in the breeding area, that's our breeding phase. If we want to move him out and we have a Tamer, we will get that effect, because start of main is not start of turn. Start of main is right when you start turn, before you breed, and before you draw. Then you go to your breeding step. You go start of turn, draw phase, breeding, then your main phase. So just keep that in mind. So even if you have no Digimon on field and you have a Marcus or Tamer in the Tamer area, whenever you move this out, you will get that start of main phase, because after your breeding step is your main phase. So when you breed, you bring them out. Now it's your main phase. You will get that 1 memory. So just keep that in mind. And then his nifty little secondary effect. Now this effect I didn't miss a lot, because it was very important for consistency reasons. When one of your yellow or red Tamers becomes suspended, you gain a card. You draw a card. It's that simple. Draw power is consistency. But that's why we play that. Just some draw power, stuff like that. The start of main does come up sometimes. Not often, but we really do like that draw effect. Lastly, we get our good boy, our third good boy. And honestly, this may have been the MVP of the deck. Basically, for the way of, I would have a Marcus on board, and let's say it was the 5-cost Marcus. It was the new Marcus. And unlike the set 12 Marcus, you can't pay a memory to have him become a Digimon, and you have to have an Agumon or a Greymon on the field to do that. If this was on the field and you have a Marcus, you could just Marcus turn him into a Digimon and then go from there. And I actually won with that, because what I did was he had ended up killing all my dudes. He had no memory, not no memory. He had no life left. He killed all my dudes. I had nothing on board. But I had the Marcus, the level 5 Marcus, that makes you start at 3. So what I did was, again, he had no blockers either. He had no blockers. He wiped my board. He thought he was safe. He had no life. And I had a Marcus, the 5-cost Marcus on board. And all I did was play this for 3, because I started at 3 with that Marcus. Play this for 3, use his active main, boom, I have an attacker. The Marcus becomes a Digimon, swing for game. And so that helped me win. That wasn't wasn't the first instance that happened. There was many times where I was able to just be like, okay, well, I know one game I had 2 of these on board, and I just decided, I was like, okay, well, I got these two dudes, and they didn't have summoning sickness. They could swing. They were on the field for a turn already. And I had 2 Marcuses, so I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna overthink the situation. I have 1-2 attackers. I'm gonna use their effects to make my Marcuses become Digimon. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers with the 2 Marcuses, and I'm not gonna overthink it. I'm just gonna swing 4 dudes, and I ended up winning that way. And then secondly, his secondary effect is inheritable. Is whenever one of your yellow or red Tamers suspend, You may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3K or less. That also kind of I missed a lot. You're gonna have to watch out for these two, especially when they can go in tandem with something. So if you're swinging, if you reduce a Marcus and you minus 2K if they have like a 5K or something, let's say that, and you swing with a Marcus, you reduce them 2K, and then a Marcus was reduced, and then you delete 3K or less, so now their 5K is just gone because you reduced it by 2 and then you killed it because it was a 3 or less. So you kind of want to watch out for that stuff. Because that could make your job, that could make your time with the deck a whole lot easier than mine was. Because like I said, I missed that that effect and that effect a lot. And if I would have remembered that effect, it probably would have been a little bit easier or smoother ride for me, I should say. So just be careful. You make sure you remember all your effects, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to the level 4s, we play 4 of the Bt13. He digivolves for 3, but he can digivolve on 2 on top of a Agumon with Dinosaur, which, by the way, all of our Agumons are dinosaurs. Yeah, dinosaur. Yep, all dinosaurs. So, I don't know what Agumon is not a dinosaur. I have to look that up. Maybe like Toy Agumon and stuff like that. Clear Agumon, the ones that are Lego bricks. Anyway, so when digivolving, if you don't have a Marcus in play, you may play a Marcus. That effect is really good in the beginning of the game. So sometimes, you know, if I don't have a Marcus on the field, I'll have an Agumon, or I'll bring out an Agumon, evolve here, play a Marcus. Early game, this card's amazing. Late game, when you already have 3 Marcuses on board, I don't like this card. And in those situations, I actually wish this was something different. But it's kind of like that in the beginning of the game, when you need to get a Marcus down cheap and quickly, you know, you pay 2, play the Marcus, that's it. Late game, this is kind of just a whatever, we'll evolve into it. And, you know, go on top with Rise, and then now we can use this inheritable. That's kind of just what it is. I would like to change 2 of these to the security Geogray, where if it's checked with security, it plays and then it kills a 4K or less. I may test that out a little bit, let y'all know how it works. But yeah, I feel like maybe two of that one and 2 of this one would be fine. But this was the first time I really played the deck. This is, you know, pre-release weekend just passed with set 13, so we're still learning some stuff. And then it's inheritable, similar to that Agumon from Bt13. When one of your yellow or red Tamers becomes suspended, you can minus 2K one of your opponent's Digimon. Which, you know, will stack. You know, minus 2K. It's minus 4K, you know, if you're swinging with like a Rise Gray or something. Okay. Next we have Geogray from EX4. So Geogray from EX4, again, like the other Geogray, evolves for 3, evolves for 2 on top of an Agumon if it's got Dinosaur. Start of main, if you have a Tamer, yellow red Tamer in play, you may gain a memory as your start of main. And then your turn, inheritable, when one of your yellow or red Tamers are suspended, you draw a card. So, you know, similar to the Agumon from EX4, start of main, you gain a memory if you have a Tamer. You draw when something becomes suspended as inheritable, you know. Same, pretty much the same effects as the EX for Agu. And then lastly for our level 4s, I absolutely love this card right here. This card was also probably MVP number 2. Which is crazy, being the fact that of all my games, I may have hit a Marcus in security twice. But this was still an MVP. Because I think anytime you get to look at your life for little to no repercussions, I feel is great. TK, you know, you look at your life, you add a yellow card, and then you recover. Or if you add a yellow card, you recover. This, you look at your stack, if you see a Marcus, you play a Marcus for free, then you recover. If you look at your stack and you don't see a Marcus, well, at least you know what's in your stack. You know what's in your security, and you kind of get an idea of what kind of game is going to be for you. When Digivolving, search your security, stack, and you may play one yellow or red Tamer from among them without paying the cost. If you did, recover one. As an inheritable, similar to the other Bt13 Agumon, when one of your Tamers, yellow or red Tamers, becomes suspended, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3K or less. So, the inheritable is pretty similar to the Agumon from Bt13, but the looking at the life and playing yourself a free Marcus, or even just not playing a Marcus and seeing your life is just so crucial, so important, because you can kind of get a feel about how the game's gonna go after that. So that's it for our level 4s. Let's move on to our level 5s. We only play, I think, 8. I feel like 8 was fine. Thought about running a 9th one, but I don't know. The deck's pretty tight as it is, to be honest with you. Firstly, we run 3 of the BT12 ones. So they evolve for 4, or red or yellow. Excuse me. But they can evolve for 3 on top of a Geogray. When Digivolving, if you have a yellow or red Tamer, you may gain a memory, so kind of reduces his Digi-Evolution cost. And then all turns, this is a super important effect, you guys. All turns, when one of your Tamers is deleted, place a Marcus from your trash at the top of your security. So I'm gonna spoil something for you. We only play Marcuses in this deck. We don't play the yellow and red. I think it was Ty and Kari or something like that. We just straight play Marcuses. We only play Marcus to the fullest, and that's it. So when one of our Marcuses dies, typically, so you swing with the Marcus because he can become a Digimon. That's the whole niche with this deck. The fact that your Tamer can become a Digimon, and we're not talking about hybrids here. We're talking about your flat Tamer just becoming a flat, just dude. That's all we're talking about. So when you swing with your Marcus, being that he only becomes a 3K Digimon, he may die. And then when he dies, if you have this on the field, so you swing, you take one of their life, and then you recover. So basically, you just took their life and you gained a life. So now they're at a deficit of 2 at least, which is something to think about. And then this inheritable is the same as all turns. Whenever one of your Tamers is deleted, place a Marcus from your trash to your top of your security. Really good effect. And then next we play 4 of the BT13 ones, which on Digivolving, which again is it costs 3 on top of a Geogray. When Digivolving, you may play a Marcus Daemon from your hand without paying its cost. So similar to the level 4 Geo, where if you don't have a Marcus, you can play a Marcus. This doesn't care if you have a Marcus already. It just says add another Marcus. Put another Marcus Tamer on the field. That's all it cares about. And then all turns, similar to that last one. All turns, if your yellow or red Tamer is deleted, play a Marcus from your trash. Recover a Marcus from trash. And its inheritable is same thing. When one of your yellow or red Tamers is deleted, place a Marcus from your trash on top of your security stack. So we do a lot of that. We do a lot of swing with Marcus. If he dies, oh well, we recover him technically. And then whenever they get checked in security, the Marcus will come back for another hit. So these cards help us do that very well, in my opinion. And then lastly, we play one of the X antibody, Rise Gray from set 9. It evolves for 1 on top of a Rise Gray, 4 on top of a regular level 4. And when Digivolving, you may play a yellow or red Tamer from your hand without paying its cost. Then if Rise Gray or X antibody is in this Digi-Evolution's cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gain minus 2k for the turn for each Tamer you control. Yellow or red Tamer. And then also on your turn, this Digimon gains 1k for every yellow or red Tamer you have. So he could also become beefy if we have enough Tamers, Marcuses and stuff like that. Now keep in mind, Marcus is also still considered a Tamer while it's a Digimon. So even if you bring out Marcus and you play this, he's still a Tamer on the board. He's considered a Digimon as well, but he's still a Tamer. So keep that in mind. And it kind of helps us to play this, clear some little dudes or a big dude if we have a lot of Marcuses, and then swing with the bonus of 1K for every Tamer, so he can get kind of beefy, and we can just kind of swing and not worry about him dying. It's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, that's our level 5s. Just 8. I felt like 8 was fine. Especially all the drawing and searching you have in this deck. You typically see your pieces when you want to see them. So moving on to our level 6s, I play 4 of the Shine Gray from set 13. It evolves for 4 or 3 on top of Arise Gray. At the start of your main phase and when digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Marcuses become a Digimon with 3k DP and blocker. All turns when one of your red Tamers or yellow Tamers becomes suspended, minus 6k one of your opponent's Digimon. I love this card. I really love this card. I don't know why. The Bt13 Shinegreymon is better. I will agree. I just love this card. How basically, start of main phase, it can just make a blocker. We have no defense in this deck, like whatsoever, other than pretty much this, just making a Marcus into a blocker. Other than that, it's. I heard this quote from somebody at our locals recently, and I thought it was absolutely golden. But basically, other than making a Marcus a blocker, this deck is all gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. We running from the cops, pedal to the metal, don't care. Swinging Marcuses, swinging Greymons and Agumons. And yeah, so but in the situations you do need some defense. This helps you do it. Makes your Marcuses turn into blockers, which is really, really, really good. And then also that last effect, all turns, when one of your Tamers becomes suspended, you minus 6k something. That includes a Marcus being a blocker. So if you have a Marcus that is a blocker, whenever you tap him to block, since he's becoming tapped, you minus 6k something. So that's something to think about too. So it's not only making your Marcus a blocker, but it's also saying if you block with that Marcus, or even if you swing with that Marcus, you can minus 6k one of your opponent's Digimon and maybe get rid of a threat. And then last for our level 6s, we play 2 of the Shinegreymons from Bt13. Now, I made a mistake. I didn't think this card... I knew the deck was going to be good upon set 13. I didn't realize it was going to be Shinegreymon going up from $6 to $17 good. I didn't think it was going to be that good. So I was only able to buy 2 of my copies back whenever they were about 6 or 7 a piece. And I said, well, I'm going to wait on buying the third one. Maybe the price will come down to, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe even 3. Well, I waited too long, and it only went up, and it is still up, so I am only at 2 copies, unfortunately. But if I did have the third, I wouldn't play 4 of this. I know a lot of people were like, why, dude? You makes your Marcuses, hit harder. I wouldn't play 4 of this. I would probably do the 3 and 3. I would do 3 of the Shine Gray from set 13, and I would do 3 of the Shine Gray from set 12. But we only have 2. So let's go ahead and read what they do. So they evolve for 3 on top of Arise Gray. When digivolving for each of your yellow and red Tamers, and play one of your opponent's Digimon and all of your opponent's Digimon security, get minus 3k. So their security becomes weaker, so your Marcuses preferably won't die. And then your turn, all your Marcus Daemons and play gain 3k and security attack plus 1. So they become, with this alone, for every Tamer, it makes your opponent's security get reduced. It also boosts your Marcus. So let's say you just have the one Marcus. Let's just say there's one Marcus on board. You reduce their security by 3. Your Marcus is a 3K, and he gains 3K. So now he's a 6, and he can live a little bit easier. You know, now that because if you hit, you have to hit an 8K or higher in security for him to really die, because it's minus 3K. So. And then the security attack plus 1, you know, it makes them live a little bit and then hit a little harder with the security attack. But yeah, I would play 3 of this. I would take out, you know, I would replace it like that. But like I said, I made a mistake. I waited too long, and I only have 2 copies of this. So we're going to run the rare Shine Gray as our other Shine Gray in the top end. Alrighty, next we have some fun shenanigans. We play 2 burst modes. Burst mode, really good. Really good. So it evolves for 5 normally, or for 0 if you, on top of a Shine Gray, if you have a Marcus in play, you bounce it to your hand. So you play this on top of a Shine Gray for 0. I'm sorry, you play this on top of Shine Gray for 0 by bouncing one of your Marcuses that are already on field into your hand. And then at the end of the turn, if you bursted, trash this from the top. So when you burst, you evo for 0, bounce a Marcus that's on the field to your hand. And then when Digivolving, you may play a Marcus from your hand without paying its cost. And the Tamer played by this effect. I'm gonna have to read this. I can't see it upside down. I'm sorry. The Tamer played by this effect is also treated as a 12K DP Digimon, can't Digivolve, and gains Rush. So basically, you play it for 0, well, evolve it for 0 on top of your Shine Gray, bounce a Marcus, you can replay that same Marcus you just bounced, it becomes a 12K Digimon with Rush, can swing right away, and then during your turn, when one of your Tamers becomes suspended, trash the top security of your opponent's security. So basically, you could bounce the Marcus, replay the Marcus. He has Rush, so he has Rush and 12K, and once he swings, you trash the top security, and then he does his damage. So really good card. I only play it at 2. You could definitely play this at 3. Definitely recommend playing it at 3. But me, for personal preference, I only play 2 for the cheeky shenanigans that is Ruin Mode. Ruin Mode states it evolves for 4 on top of a Shine Gray. When Digivolving and on deletion until the end of your opponent's next turn, all your opponent's Digimon get minus 5K. That is a static effect. That is, even if you evolve into this and you get the minus 5K to the end of your opponent's next turn, it goes to your opponent's turn. Even if they play something for 5K, it automatically dies. 5 or less K, if they play anything 5 or less K, it automatically dies. Anything more than 5K, it just reduces, it just loses 5K. And so, for example, your 6Ks become 1Ks, your 7Ks become 2Ks, you know, just typical math real quick. And then, end of attack, delete this Digimon. Now, this ain't a May, by the way, at the end of the attack. So when you attack with them, you have to do this effect. End of attack, delete this Digimon and one of your opponent's Digimon and recover 1. Then, if you have a Tamer in play, hatch 1 Digi-Egg card to an empty space in your breeding area. So basically, if you have no egg back here, you swing, you delete it, delete one of your opponent's Digimon, recover 1, and then you can hatch a Digi-Egg. So that's, I mean, you know, the minus 5K for Digivolving and deletion is kind of just the cheekiness that I like. And then the recover is nice too as well. So, but yeah, you can definitely play, like, see, I even have, look, let me show you. I even have a third burst mode that I may test out with. I may test the 3 burst modes. I don't know. But for right now, I really, really enjoy the Ruin mode. And, you know, some people don't see it coming. You know, it's crazy. Lastly, well, not lastly, but kind of lastly, we play our Tamers. We play 4 Marcuses from Bt12. Marcus from Bt12 says, at the start of your main phase, if you have a Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name in play, by paying 1 memory, for the turn, this becomes a 3K Digimon that can't Digivolve. And during your turn, when this Digimon becomes suspended, when this Tamer becomes suspended, you may Digivolve into a yellow card with Greymon in its name without paying its cost, which is basically the whole deck. You pay the 1, you swing with him, you can evolve into your into a Greymon for free because you're not paying the cost, and you're also hitting their security with a dude. And our other Marcuses, we play 4 of the Bt13 ones. Let me move this up a little bit. Okay. We play the Bt13 one, which says start of turns. If you have 2 or fewer memory, set your memory to 3. So he's our set to 3 memory dude. And then on play, I may suspend him all turns when this Tamer becomes suspended. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3K. Then if you have an Agumon or Greymon in play, gain a memory. So you can, you know, when you play him, you can tap him, minus 3 something, gain a memory. And he's also your set to 3 memory. You're set to 3 Tamer, which is important. You need your memory in this deck. So yeah, that's the Marcuses real quick. You know, they're pretty self-explanatory. The Marcuses, you know, all of their security effects are play this card without paying its cost. So yeah, you just got to remember your main effects for the Marcuses. Basically, this Marcus can become a Digimon on its own by paying the 1 if you have an Agu or a Gray. And then when you suspend, you can evolve into a Gray for basically free. This one's your set to 3 Tamer. You may suspend it when you play, and whenever it becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 3K, and if you have Agu or a Gray on field, you gain a memory. So basically, that's, you know, it's pretty straightforward. Those are what the Marcuses do. And then lastly, we play kind of a flex spot. We play 1 Final Shining Burst. This could be, I have it off to the side right here. This honestly could kind of be any one of these. I decided to play the Final Shining Burst just to kill Big Dude. A little bit easier because sometimes you may not always have your Tamers set up to do minus 3 times X amount to kill something. This is just a minus 12. They all play a Tamer. These specifically play Marcuses. This plays any yellow or red Tamer. But yeah, it could be any one of these 3. I just decided to choose the Final Shining Burst just to minus 12K something and then play a Marcus for free. Typically, if it's paired with this Marcus, what it does is you do this, minus 12, play this, suspend it, and then you get the minus 12 and then the minus 3 from this. So you could do 15 on something, or you can spread it out, maybe hit a baby, a rookie, and then hit like a level 5, you know, stuff like that. So this card really pairs well with this, because whenever you play it, you suspend it, you can gain a memory if you have an Agu or a Gray, and then also you can minus 3K something, so you can minus 15, or like I said, hit a little dude and hit a slightly bigger dude, but not quite big dude. That's just personal preference. But that is the deck profile. Let me go over a couple of extra things you could add. Like I mentioned, you could add the 3rd burst mode instead of ruin mode. Instead of the final shine burst, you can have sunrise burst or shining blast. Up to you. You can make room more for the. You can make more room for more options if you want to play them all. And you could also, I also like this Rise Gray, but it was kind of, I don't know. It's kind of weird for the example of when Digivolving. Let's see, when Digivolving, all of your opponents' Digimon and security Digimon gain minus one of your opponent's Digimon and all of their security gain minus 4K for the turn. So that's a really good effect. The only issue is it's kind of like sometimes you just want to play your Marcus. Like, let's see, where's our level 5s at? Yeah, sometimes if you have a yellow or red Tamer, you want to gain a memory. So sometimes you want to just Evo for a little cheaper, and sometimes you want to just play a Marcus. Sometimes you don't really care about getting the security to -4, and it's inheritable is whenever one of your red or yellow Tamers becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon and all of your security Tamers get -4K. So that helps the Marcuses. You know, if you swing with the Marcus, so your opponent's security get -4K. Marcus is a 3K, so he can kind of has a better chance of living. And then you get -4K one of their dudes that are on board, so that's pretty cool as well. You can play another X Antibody. It's up to you. The possibilities with this deck are just about endless. I'd say the only thing that's kind of like, I don't know, for sure that you kind of just don't touch is the rookies. If you're playing Shine Gray, you're typically playing 4 of each of these rookies, and you get 4 of the BT12, 4 of the EX4, 4 of the BT13. You could play the Agumon X Antibody that evolves on top of an Agumon, and then you top, I think, 3 and grab an X Antibody. And stuff like that, Greymon and an X Antibody or an Omnimon. You could, but I feel like you don't really need to. These are all fine. These all get you there. They help you so much in the deck. So the Geo Greys you can kind of mess with. The Rise Greys you can kind of mess with. The Shine Greys you can kind of mess with. The level 7s you can kind of mess with if you want. Tamers I feel like is also, you have to run Marcus Daemons because the deck revolves around Marcus Daemons. But you can mess with the ratios and different ones. Like you could play the old one from set, I think it was 4, that sets the 3. And when you swing with a Greymon, you get a memory. Excuse me, I'm feeling the need to yawn, but I'm not yawning at the same time. So yeah, you can mess around with those numbers of Marcuses and stuff like that, see what fits you best, and just so on and so forth. But that is the Shine Gray deck that I won our store tournament with this past weekend. Out of, I think it was a small one. It was like 9 or 10 people, and came first place. Every match was a grind, but again, that's like I said, I was missing some of my Agumon triggers. We were all learning our new decks. We're all new to Bt13, so we're all kind of just trying to learn cards. But anyway, yeah, that's the Shine Gray deck that I have for you guys. Super fun, super fun, really consistent with that red baby with the draw. You could play the yellow baby, the yellow Koromon with whenever one of your Tamers become suspended, you -1K stuff. I know the guy at our locals who I went Shine Gray mirror match with, he plays the yellow Koromon, and I understand that play completely. You maximize the reduction, maximize the control. I just like consistency better. That's just my personal preference. But yeah, so you can definitely toy around with the deck if you want. Multiple things you can add. Some things you can take out. You can mess with the ratios and stuff. But yeah, so that's the Shine Gray deck list I have for you guys. Sorry I was gone for so long, but I am back. We are close to our locals now, so we will probably be bringing you more content. Until next time, Limit Break TCG. Peace.